Howdy, y'all. The following is a clip from a show called On Our Last Nerve. Watch it on Objectively Subjective's channel and catch it every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. And also be sure to subscribe. We have some wonderful co-hosts on the channel, #Heathen and Faithless Southerner. Make sure to subscribe to them too. They're awesome. I hope y'all enjoy.
All right, so Snarky, it is time for you to finish us out.
Oh, well, there's no lacking here, right? All right. So, my topic is atheists and the like. If you see somebody who is celebrating or grieving or anything like that online, and they're giving thanks to their god or gods or whatever the fuck, and they're in that state of mind, maybe let them be. Leave them alone. I know it's a novel idea, but just hear me out, okay? Now, I've been an asshole to people when going through my angry phases of belief examination, and this aspect of my past is something I'm not content with. And for those actions of mine, I deeply apologize. I do. My principles were abandoned, and I just simply didn't give a damn about how my words and my actions harmed the feelings of others. I wasn't thinking about it. And that's not an excuse, that's a mistake because I'm a fallible human being. That being said, I can see the same kind of anger demonstrated in mostly internet spaces. But also, like in real life or whatever you want to call it, different places. And I see it occur time and time again in areas where it could have just all been avoided, by just not engaging or taking a moment to sit back and think about it, let your anger pass. But honestly, I don't think it's common knowledge how things can be blown beyond proportion in the realm of like limited characters and limited ability to have a conversation. It's fine though. Everything's fine. It's fine. It's not that difficult to admit that you've made some mistakes. And sometimes words get crossed, read the wrong way, or there's some kind of obstacle that lies in your path that clouds things. Just try not to indulge in those passions for too long. You're human, and from this moment forward, you have the ability to be wary of the emotion known as rage. Allow it to flow by and remember your humanity. Let empathy be your guide and see your choices driven by justice. But please try to be mindful of the possibility that behind those characters is also quite possibly another living human being. Okay, just saying, most of us human beings are just trying to find a comfortable place to land during times of glee or the greatest of depressions, right? So, life, in case you have not noticed, is kind of screwed up on many, many, many levels. So, how about we don't shit on people who are in mourning or stomp on them when they're enjoying themselves? Uh, so, they hold a different belief in metaphysics. What does that have to do with being decent toward another human being? Uh, I think that we should recognize that the same character, substance, feelings, and thoughts reside behind the eyes of the other as they exist in yours, right? So, however, we all have this sense of self and emotion, and feelings can genuinely get crushed by engagements on Twitter or YouTube, anywhere really. I mean, and it's my opinion that it's my opinion that online activity provides a certain level of disconnect whenever you're trying to assess users and your feelings of responsibility as a user. And It's just, yeah. So since there's this kind of perception that online shit just doesn't count and it's not real for whatever reason, sorry, it does. It's real. It's happening, and you're responsible for it. And also, it's very easy for this bullshit to seem without end unless somebody stops to remember they're dealing with a person. Religious, non religious, either way, I think the core character demonstrates itself as those who move forward, demonstrating their principles as opposed to just saying them. Now, given the right merits, learning to eat crow every now and again, offer a genuine apology, and show effort to alter your course, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens. It's life. If someone posts that they need prayer and you don't believe in prayer, just sit with the anger for a bit and ask yourself questions like, how is the angry approach going to help a person seeking comfort? That should be the number one thing. And does it help me? Does it help anyone? Like, to what end am I bothering this person? It's a strange hill to want to die on. And I see it happen time and time again. And I just have one suggestion. Maybe find the courage within you to just scroll past. Okay. And another thing I would really be remiss if I didn't mention is that even if you do apologize, people aren't obligated to accept it or even acknowledge it or talk to you at all, right? Respect the boundaries, including your own. If you say, leave me alone, no longer engage with that person. Follow through with it. Stick to your guns and do your best not to tread past those clearly established boundaries other people have set. So, there's my speech.
Yeah, it definitely like I'm what I'm against is the harm that religion can do. So I view it as if somebody is asking for prayers, or in that one case, like a couple months ago, where they're like, "Hey, I found out my dad who had cancer is cancer free." Um, that's not harmful.
No,
And like Elhana said, they're not forcing their beliefs on you. They're not saying, "Hey, you should believe this too." So why force yours on them?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, right? Because I'm fairly like I'm a strong atheist, right? And I believe that I have the truth in this one specific instance, and I would like more people to understand, right, that this is, to get rid of false beliefs. And um but there are thousands of theists that are willing to have these conversations, right? I can't help but feel that the people that constantly do this are going after low hanging fruit. They're getting an easy slam dunk online on Twitter that all their followers will eat up. They'll retweet, thank God my surgery came out all right. And they can find those posts however they do by the search function or whatever, and just come on and, well, it wasn't God that did it. It was your doctor. You should be thanking your doctor, yada, yada, yada. And they can get a bunch of likes and they get their shit beliefs bolstered and they feel good about themselves because, wow, they're out there fighting for reason. If your goal is to get people to believe what you believe to be the truth, just running into an unrelated post, cramming your atheism down their throat is not going to change their mind. If anything, you are strengthening their beliefs that atheists are shit people.
Yeah.
And that we're sent by Satan and all of the other things. There are times and places to have these discussions. On post of mourning or a thing, that's not that. Like, if somebody is out there advocating for faith healing, oh, well, don't go to the doctor. All you need to do is thank God. Sure.
Yeah.
That's something like hashtag said, that is a harmful thing that they're propagating.
Yes.
If they say, well, thank God that I woke up this morning, and
Right.
you're not changing that person's mind. All you're doing is scoring points for your team, and your team is shit. Your team doesn't give a shit about humans.
That's like there's a certain Twitter user that likes to pop up every now and then and talk about how depression can be cured with Jesus.
Oh God.
And it can't.
No.
It can't. In fact, my depression was way worse when I was at the height of my ministry than it is now. And so, yeah, Jesus can't cure your depression. But if someone is out there saying, you know, God is what gives me a reason to live, and that's all they say, leave them alone.
Yeah, leave them
They're not
alone.
hurting you.
No, and it's not worth, right? Again, where do your values lie? On your tree of values. It's not worth. This is one reason that I don't like street epistemology, right?
Yeah.
Is because you're ambushing these people, while they're walking down the walking track and causing a crisis of belief for no fucking reason, because you want to feel like you're promoting what is true. You're going to ambush a 70-year-old lady who's always believed in God and thinks that this is, the wonderful and the truth, and you're going to lead her into a massive existential crisis for no good reason, right? What enrichment is going to happen in that person's life? There are plenty of evils with religion to be fought that we could spend all day and all night talking about: the terrible things, the persecution of the LGBT community, the restriction of women's rights. We can talk about all these, the harm associated with religion, right? And the people that push that harm. And those are worthwhile causes to fight for.
Yeah.
Your run-of-the-mill Christian that says, thanks God that I woke up today, that's not your enemy, right? This is a reason that I am not and never have been an anti-theist.
And it goes to the situation that I always bring up is I had fairly popular atheist YouTube claim that I betrayed my ethics because I prayed and sang Christian songs to my grandmother who had dementia and was dying in a hospital.
Oh my God.
If that's the hill that you want to stand on, fuck that hill.
That's shit values that you're holding there.
My grandmother with dementia, was I supposed to say, no, I'm not going to pray with you or sing you the songs that you enjoy to hear me sing, because there is no God, Grandma?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
It's just it's ridiculous.
Have some common human decency. You're dealing with human beings with feelings.
Empathy.
Yeah.
And here's another mind-blowing, and I know that this is going to come as a shock to the entire atheist community that's never going to watch this, or the people that are hate watching right now. Fuck y'all.
Hi.
You could be wrong, completely wrong about the metaphysics of the universe. And I know you don't know what that word means because you're an internet atheist. My prior polls on that have figured that out. There is a really good possibility that you're fucking wrong, and that in 20 years, you will be believing something totally opposite from what you are now. Because guess what? A lot of us 20 years ago were believing something totally fucking opposite.
Yes.
Right? And so the sheer arrogance and the way that we should all be able to unite against harm. Because if somebody is promoting harm, something that's obviously harmful, like, advocating for the stoning of gay people.
Yeah.
That's something that Christian, non-Christian, any sort of theistic or atheistic or agnostic or whatever belief, that's something that we can all get behind and say, no, that's wrong. And if you hold that thing for reasons, then hey, we need to talk about that, right? But just I can't agree anymore with this, because I get so sick of seeing it. It's so much that I typically speak up and they get immediately blocked. But don't have humanist in your freaking Twitter bio and then purposefully seek out people who are thanking God for one thing or another and telling them they're wrong about everything, right?
Yeah.
And part of being a humanist is decreasing harm, just period. And also, if you're a humanist, don't be advocating for the death of others. That's a little harmful.
Yep.
It is.
Whether they're theist or atheist, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, get that shit out of your head.
Or landlords.
Or landlords, yeah.
I can't help but wonder about the psychology of this too. I'm wondering if since a lot of these folks are former theists, I wonder if it's projection of their former belief in the former selves. and kind of I can't help but wonder if it's a bit of self-loathing
I
that I
Uh,
don't.
feel.
I
I
don't
would say that
know.
it's more an attachment, more of a way that they view the world, right? Because a lot of people, whenever they go atheist, especially former fundamentalist, go fundamentalist atheist, right?
No.
It's like this is the way that they perceive the world: is I am wrong, right? Everybody else is wrong, and everybody else should believe the way that I do. And that's the way a lot of Christians think, right? Everybody else is
Mhm.
going to hell, even interdenominational, right? You can be a different brand of Christian, and all of those people are going to hell because I have the one set truth. And then whenever they make that transition over to atheism, they don't lose that mindset. Now it's I have the
Mm,
one holy truth. I was wrong before, but now I've got it. And so now that's what I'm carrying forward. And so everybody else needs to
mm.
believe like me because I am the one that holds the objective truth. And
That
most of
makes
these people
sense.
couldn't even tell you like the difference between coherentism and foundation. They don't even know what
Foundationalism,
something
yeah.
being true is.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah,
I think a big issue, especially on social media, is the Four Horsemen syndrome.
oh god.
They
Saviors.
they've watched The New Atheist, they've seen a bunch of debates, and they just take every single conversation as, and
Yeah, and
it's not.
they have this it seems like a savior complex, right? It's the same kind of proselytization kind of framework, just with different colors and themes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not healthy, I don't think. I really don't even I don't know what the point of it is. Uh, I don't I don't
well,
think there is really a clear set goal there.
to add to what Evan said, about, they've a lot of times, the more fundamentalist you were as a believer, the more dirtbag atheist you are afterward. And it's when I was a Christian minister and I looked out at the world, it seemed like everyone was an atheist. That the world was just chock full of atheists. And then once I became an atheist and I look out at the world, it's like everyone is this evangelical wanting to proselytize theist. And I admit I went through my angry atheist stage. I even went
Right.
head to head with Evans in our first conversation together, about anti-theism, but I don't consider myself an anti-theist anymore. I consider myself anti-harm,
Yeah.
um, just in general. And I think that, uh, is a much more humanistic way of viewing the world.
Yeah, and there's nothing absolutely nothing wrong with changing your position if you are convinced or you're given good reason, justified reason to change it. If it's not working, if it's harmful, if it's whatever, you're free to abandon it. You're free to move on and do better.
Yep,
And I think that that is the goal that humanists should strive for is preventing harm and doing the best they can in order to promote human flourishing. And that should be the goal.
totally agree with you. Okay, uh, so Snarky,
Oh,
go ahead.
fuck. All right. Well, I hate this topic, but I have to talk about it because it matters. It matters a lot, especially to me. And, well, I mean, most people should be concerned about this. So I was kind of Googling like statistics and stuff on like untested rape kits that have been in the United States. And what I found was kind of shocking. So even the conservative estimates indicate that there are 200,000 to 400,000 untested kits in US police departments. Yeah, sometimes totaling more than 10,000 untested kits in a single city, right? So there's that statistic. Another statistic that I was looking at is the total number of cases reported in the United States in 2017. And wow, even by state, it is just phenomenal numbers. Now, um, also, if you look on RAIN, the under their victims of violence statistics, on average, there are 433,648 victims aged 12 or older of rape and sexual assault each year in the United States. Younger people are at the highest risk of sexual violence, and ages 12 to 34 are the highest risk years for these kinds of events. Uh, so yeah, there's that. And there's also something came across my feed I found interesting. There's a report from ABC News Florida saying that 8,000 kits turned up 1,800 DNA matches. Right, so they did was they ran the kits, they ran the DNA, and they got matches from people that were already in the database that had already committed crimes. I mean, that's how you investigate this stuff. But they haven't been. But this is an instance where they actually did, and it turned up 1,800 matches. So, yeah. So, way to go, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. So, yeah, it should definitely help generate new leads in these cases and, help the victims and take another criminal off the street, hopefully. So, yeah, how about we keep on testing the kits? That's my main question because apparently it at least gets some results. It's a step in the right direction. What do y'all think?
I agree. I think we should test the kits. Period.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that it's gotten to this point, right? That part of having law enforcement and things like that is the stability and the knowledge that they do their jobs, and this is a big time failure. And so if the law enforcement wants to improve their image, they actually need to do their fucking jobs and have funding to do their jobs, right? Because this is absolutely ridiculous, and we can't undersell the value that convictions play in the psychological health of the victims, right? To know that their rapist is off of the streets, and to know that something was, at least something came of it, right? That it wasn't just a dead end. Those things help the psychological. I mean, the literature's out on that. That is something that
Yeah.
needs to happen. That's why it's so devastating whenever mass shooters kill themselves right at the end of a shooting spree, because there is no sense of justice.
Yeah.
And so we can't sell short how much that these kits being tested would mean to the victims.
Oh yeah.
And on top of getting a rapist behind bars. It blew my mind whenever I first heard about this. And it hasn't been that long ago, right, that this even came into my, because it's not something that we talk about, much to our detriment, because hey, it's really important. Very, very important.
Well,
So,
go ahead, hashtag.
I was just gonna say I can't imagine what it's like. Like in my situation, it was date rape. I knew who did it. I knew who to avoid. But I can't imagine knowing that that person is still out there and you have no fucking clue who they are. Not so like the fact that these women even leave their homes is to me a miracle. Like why are I mean I get that it's a cost issue. We can channel some money in there. I
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
guarantee it. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and whenever this violent crime happens to a person, and then they go in to give a DNA test to give the kit to do the kit, which is not fun. Okay, it's basically like, oh my god, I'm here because this horrible thing happened, and it just you're replaying all that trauma in your head. It's like having it happen all over again. Then you're having to give testimony to this cop and that cop and this department and that secretary, and it's a clusterfuck. So to go through all of that, go through all that process just to have a kid sit on a shelf is a slap in the fucking face.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's an
So
insult. It's disgusting.
yeah.
No, and there's no reason, right, that we shouldn't be able to fund this.
No,
This is
there's
we
not.
spend more on our military than the next 5 countries fucking bind.
Mhm.
Instead of fucking around in other people's shit and playing world police and, invading other countries, how about we take care of ours, American value folks, make America great again. Why don't we actually enforce justice here?
Yeah.
Because it's not, the fields in Afghanistan that we're after. I would much rather that military budget went to enforcing the laws here.
Well,
Yeah.
look,
Right.
we got to have a 13th investigation into Benghazi. We can't afford
Of course.
this.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, that's one of those, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? We spend on the Pentagon has probably up to $22 trillion worth of just where did it go?
Yeah, that happens
the
like
money went?
ever so often. Such and such $1 trillion is
Yeah, we just, unaccounted for funds,
Just
where the
gone.
fuck? Yeah. And we can't afford to actually enforce our own laws and to help
Mhm.
these victims out and to, get rapists off the street.
Yeah.
Get fucking real.
Amen.
It's just disgusting. But test the kits, period.
Test the kits. A special thank you to all my wonderful patrons. I really appreciate your support. Also, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss another snarky video. Don't forget to know yourself and stay snarky.